what he's hunting.
Awesome. Thank you guys for coming to the Dragon Ball Z panel. Obviously, we have Mike McFarlane, Master Roshi, Yajirobe, Baby Vegeta, Android 8, Stephanie the Donnie, OG Gohan, Kid Goku, and Sky. So, I'm going to kind of get us started. This is going to be a Q&A thing. Ask any questions that you have, and we're going to have fun.
That's the idea. Thanks for coming. If anyone else wants to join us, come on in.
First question. Were you aware of Dragon Ball before you took on the role that you have?
I was aware of it as a title of a thing that I haven't watched.
Okay.
So I was aware that it existed, and I saw pictures of what, I had seen pictures of it before. I'd not watched an episode. I'd not seen very much about it.
What about you? You know about
No,
that?
I didn't even know about anime. I was in the realm of traveling with a show band, so I was on the road. But I knew about cartoons, and I knew that there were voice actors and things like that through theater myself. But no, in fact, when I walked into the audition, I didn't know even what Dragon Ball Z was or what anime was. So what a giant door that was open for us.
Yeah,
I'm grateful.
I knew of anime, not by name, but I knew what it looked like. I watched Star Blazers and Battle of the Planets and Speed Racer when I was a kid. And then by the time I got to college, I was at least aware of anime as a medium, and I saw Akira in theaters and Vampire Hunter D and Blood the Last Vampire. I saw all those at the art house cinema. So
I think I just didn't know it was anime, so I didn't know that they existed like with Speed Racer and stuff, and then I found out much later a lot more of the history, which was like, wow. You don't know till you're told, I guess, till you learn about it. But yeah, Speed Racer.
Anyone out here have a question? Raise your hand. I know you've got a question.
So, for both of you, is there one of your characters? I know it's like picking your favorite children, but is there one that you feel most at home voicing, or one that's like you really look back on fondly with that specific character?
in the show or in general?
Just in general.
In general, I don't have a favorite character, not for the reason that you said as far as they're my favorite children, because I think that's a lame actor answer. There are characters that you know a lot better, and then like I've definitely played people where the only line was like, and I do not love that character as much as Master Roshi. It's just impossible, like that. I don't love it equally. I don't have a favorite character, but I do have the two that are the most fun to play, and that's Roshi and Buggy from One Piece.
Yeah.
They're very broad, very cartoony, for lack of a better word, and also their storyline and show is just so long that I've got to continue with them for a long time. I started as Roshi like 25, 26 years ago, and I still, even if there's no show to do, there's like a video game or something going on. So I've done it consistently for like half my life.
Right.
Yeah.
For me, I have different reasons. So like I loved Gohan. He's my first anime role, and the character development with him is really, really touched my personal life, because right when I was cast as Gohan, my mother passed away suddenly, and so when it came time to do Cell Saga, it was like the Goku, Gohan, Kamehameha. It's like I was kind of reliving the loss of her and such a monumental loss in my life, and so it's like I kind of like felt like I could really, draw from personal experience, for lack of a better way to explain it. But I had much more fun with Goku, being that he's just super innocent. I love kids, so I got to kind of play a kid, a little boy I could never be in real life, that kind of thing. So I definitely had more fun with the comedic type of roles. I think it's just more natural for me, and I just had more fun with it. Like Mike said, doing society was just crazy fun. And then there was the accidental almost role of East Kai, just randomly got chosen for that one. I think I was at a session already, and we tried a voice, and I just went crazy with it, and it was like, oh, but she's nothing at all like any of the other voices. So, but yeah, I think I can relate to both, but for different reasons. And they are both kind of like my kids, but because they are kids, I don't know. So yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Hey, George.
Yeah.
What's your thought process when you're trying to come up with how a character would sound?
It just depends. It depends on how much information is given to me. If someone just says it's an old guy or it's an old man, I can go, 50 different directions with that. If I see a picture, that helps. If I see how they interact with other people, that helps. In the instance of doing ADR work with Japanese say voice acting, if I can hear what they're doing, it helps. It just depends on how many layers I have. Video game auditions tend to be like, here's a descriptive paragraph, and here's some pictures of maybe not the character, but like inspirations. Like it might be a picture of an on-camera star in some other game, and something like we're going for this kind of vibe, and that kind of helps out. The other thing to keep in mind would be the level of realism that's involved with whatever you're auditioning for. That's good to know too, because an old man who's like in Powerpuff Girls is not going to sound like an old man on Deadwood.
Yeah.
For instance.
Right.
Yeah. Same. I go with the direction. Read the description. Again, a photo of the character if they already have that. It always helps to kind of get a reference of the age, maybe. And if it is a boy or a girl, you boy or a girl. It's like, is it a teen? Is it like you said, an old man, an old woman? Is it a villain? Is it a good guy? Is, kind of like the description. And then if there's a reference to like maybe sometimes they'll give you a reference like, hey, we're kind of going this direction with the voice. Check out this YouTube link. Check out, listen to it and kind of like get an idea for that voice, and it really tells us a lot. But if they just want us to come up with something, certainly game to audition. It's just a matter of what the director's looking for. And once they find what they want, you just might not be fit for that, or might be a good fit. So that's what I do too.
Yeah, the weird thing about the vague auditions or whatever is it is up to you to go in there and do what you think is best. Once you have some experience, you realize that, they want to see what I do with this information. When you're younger and newer, it's like, I wonder what they want. I want to aim for what they want. And that's going to drive you nuts because you're trying to get inside someone else's head. You don't know them, you don't know what they want. So what you need to do, and what I try to always do is, okay, here's the information I have. This is my take on that. This is how I would do that if I was in charge and I was paying for this, and this is just already mine. This is what I would do. And if you like that, great. If it's somewhere close to it, great. If it's not at all what you want, I'm not your guy. Just get somebody else. That's fine. Mm-hmm. I'll go audition for something else.
Right. You send it out, and if you don't hear back, it's not not necessarily good, but it doesn't mean that there's not something else out there for you. And it's just considered like a door, and if it's closed, you move to another door, and you just let it go, and you just might not be the right one for that role. It doesn't mean anything personal. Just like, hey, you get something else in mind. And use it as a learning experience, like, well, maybe every time we audition for something, it's another thing in our arsenal to help us become better and more diverse voice actors. So, yeah.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
What was your, favorite episode to, voice in Dragon Ball? Or Dragon Ball Z?
Oh, man, I don't know. Some of that stuff is, like I said, like 25, 26 years ago for some of the earlier stuff. Of the stuff that's more recent that I can remember, I loved what they had Roshi do in Dragon Ball Super with the Tournament of Power. Like, that's the most that he's got to do and the most dramatic thing that he's got to do in a long time. Like, easily, 10, 15 years, long time. So I do remember that. As far as way back in the day, it kind of all blends, but I do remember the first World Martial Arts tournament that was on screen, where we were introduced to Jackie Chun, who's totally not Master Roshi. So that little segment of a secret identity segment was goofy and fun. So I remember that too.
Yeah. For me, definitely the early parts of Dragon Ball when you first were introduced to Goku. He's crazy innocent. He doesn't really know what's going on. He's raised in the woods. He just had a lot of funny things to say that, somebody else would probably get away with saying. And then there was a lot of, stuff that Mike and I both voiced in when he was Roshi, and when Goku comes and ransacks his fridge, and it just, why does he keep his food in his box? Like, he just eats his whole, it's just cute. It's him, when Roshi comes out of the bathroom, it's like, you're stinky. I mean, just cute, fun, campy stuff, for the kids. Who's not going to laugh at that? It's just silly. It's a lot of fun. Lighthearted, carefree, nothing too high, pressure, high stress, go to work and be like really, really, really stressed out about this really traumatic character. I didn't have to do that with Goku.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Question about Goku? Were you the original Dragon Ball Goku?
Little kid Goku, yes. Yes.
You think you could say a little bit in his voice?
Oh, what would you like to hear? Do you guys have any food? Time for training. Yoo-hoo, Master Roshi. There's a girl downstairs.
I've got another question.
All right.
I'm curious. Is there one of the role, is Master Roshi harder on your voice than say Buggy, or in your case Goku, was that easier than Gohan? How does that work?
I think it just depends on the dialogue, if you're going to be screaming or fighting or just talking, or when I first got cast as Gohan, I was really kind of a background character, and he did a lot of shock and awe, whoa, he didn't say much, it was just kind of laid back, checking things out, taking all things in. So it was just a lot of exertions, and I think somebody called me the reactress, because most of what I was doing was reactions. Not too hard on the voice at all, but we would just go from line to line. But it was back in the day when I was rewinding fast forward, so you'd have to patiently wait in between lines. Yeah. For an ADD person, that was not easy. But and then take Cell Saga. Obviously, going to be much more strenuous on the voice, a lot of screaming. Thankfully, we were able to save a lot of that for the session. A lot of the directors are voice actors. Mike was my director for many years with Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. So he gets it. A lot of them understand what kind of strain you need to go through. If you need a break, do you need water? We're going to go on lunch break and come back and do some more. Do we need to come back tomorrow? But a lot of us, being vocalists, actors, singers, improv, we use our voice a lot. We kind of, know what it can take and know when we've hit our limits. And if I left with a sore throat and I was tired, I just kind of knew how to take care of my voice. I was a singer, a rock singer, so I knew to rest. And you could be like a holding person the next morning. You might sound like a frog, but you warm up a little bit, have your coffee, and start your day, and then you can usually, shake it off. I only remember one time I had to not complete a session because I just been in a car wreck. And so I was at the session with Sabbath, and he was like, you sound different. I'm like, I almost died, but we're good, let's go. And so we kept going, and finally he's like, I think you need to just take the day off. You just take care of your car. I didn't have a car. I was like, I will find a way to get to work, and we will do this session. But that's the only time. But I was, freaked out and probably in a little bit of shock. So it made sense to just we'll start again tomorrow or reschedule. But then Goku's easy, up high pitch, no trouble. So what about you?
Between Roshi and Buggy, I think is what you said, right? If all things being equal, Buggy's more textured, and it is going to hurt faster than the Roshi voice will, even if they're both yelling and screaming and fighting. The texture that's on Roshi's voice is a softer texture. The Buggy voice has a harsher texture. So that combined with yelling and fighting, whatever else, that wears on me quicker. Yeah. But for the most part, any harsh session like that, there's going to be a 2-hour max on recording. Even if there's 10, 15, 20 hours of recording to do, it's just going to be little bits at a time. Yeah. Maybe even with a day in between off where you work every other day or whatever. So it's usually not too bad. I think way back in the day, that wasn't necessarily taken into account. Be like, oh, you got 7 hours of work. Well, that's just Monday. You should be here all day Monday. I'm like, bro, that's so much, It didn't take long once we had people like, more of the actor directors, like what Stephen was saying earlier.
They understand.
They understand, like there is no 7-hour session of anything. Like we need to break this up into smaller chunks.
And if you really want to get the best material out of somebody, if you do work them too hard, you don't want the work to suffer. You don't want the product to suffer because you've got to get the good, clean read. You want the best of the best, and then once they put everything with it and the sound effects, why compromise that? So.
And you don't want the person to suffer either. Like that's to me, that's the main thing. Like I do want my, the end product of the things I work on to sound good, but not at the expense of like blood.
Yeah, especially.
I want to take care of the actor too.
And I think it matters also with the deadline. It's like, we had some more time. Why don't we just, finish this next time? Or use your time wisely and do the best you can. And then like sometimes it's better to get someone in for maybe an hour or two and then just let them go, and then they'll be even fresher the next time around.
Oh, sure.
Have either of you ever noticed coffee having a negative effect on your voice, or does it not really do anything?
I am one of the 4 people in North America that does not drink coffee. So I drink a lot of tea, hot, iced, whatever. It's all good for me. I love the smell of beans being ground up for coffee and it's brewing. I do not like the taste. By the time it tastes good to me, it's like the worst hot chocolate in the world. Like I've put so much stuff in, like, okay, there we go, now it's not so bitter, but it's also gross.
Yeah.
So as far as it having an impact, I could not tell you.
I didn't start drinking coffee until somebody handed me a white chocolate mocha, and I was like, this is coffee? Oh, I like this. It's not really coffee.
That's what I'm saying.
I am not a coffee drinker. Like, you give me hot coffee, hot brown coffee, I'm not going to touch it. Like, I drown it with stuff to make it taste good, basically. But no, I mean, I think being just a vocal child and being, getting in trouble for being a vocal person, it's like, hey, I'm working on my career here, damn it. Why am I in trouble again? But just knowing your voice and I've had to sing sick. I've had to sing pulling myself out the floor and putting on a costume and going out on stage with the flu. it's the show must go on. It's like you kind of just learn how to sing around or speak around what you got to. Voice acting, absolutely. If you can't do it and you just don't even sound like your character because your voice is so thrashed, it makes sense to reschedule. But when you're in a show, or Mike does a lot of acting, and if you are on the spot and you have to do it, figure out a way to do it. So I've learned how to sing around stuff. I just got to know my voice so well, my whole life from mimicking and talking and my babysitter, I'd be like mimicking whatever I hear. I think we just learn our voices, and we learn what our capabilities are and what our parameters are. It's like, well, this is gonna hurt like hell. I'm gonna sound great for about 30 minutes and then I'm gonna be out. But if you really want this voice, it just might be just more taxing on our vocal cords and our throat, depending on if we're in good shape or not too. So that's why we just do the best we can to drink a lot of water and, get a lot of sleep and be ready.
Yeah, water's the best.
Yeah,
Water's the best thing for you.
Yeah.
As far as like coffee specifically being a negative or whatever, I know coffee helps a lot of people wake up in the morning, like they, both mentally and physically, like your voice is smoother after you've had a warm cup of something, be it coffee or whatever you have, and that is a helpful thing. I think enough to get started or whatever, like a cup or something, I don't think that's going to hurt anything. But I do think at some point you got to switch to water, like once you're awake, and that's a good thing to keep going. I will say, as far as like things that I know for sure you shouldn't, milk's not good like to chug down for voice sessions because there's so much. Well, not necessarily mucus. I'm not going to drink up some mucus. But there's like, there's the lactic acid and everything that's in the milk is not good for you. It leaves a coat, and you don't want that coat in anything that you drink. What else? I wouldn't suggest sodas because of the carbonation. You're just putting little gaseous bubbles inside your stomach, and you're not going to be settled that way. You're not going to be the freshest, most pure, whatever, because you're going to have little gaseous activity in your stomach.
And you can really hear that, not only yourself, but the director's like, wow, there's some crazy gurgling going on. I remember sometimes coming after lunch and my stomach, or before lunch, and be like, wow, my stomach is like growling. So yeah, and then, like you said, the dairy can just kind of make you just I don't know, it just kind of gets in the way with when you're clearing your throat a lot and just kind of.
Yeah, it's not a clean drink. Like it's good for things, but like it has a film on it. Like if you pour it on something and then tip it away, there's still a film on it.
Right.
And it doesn't happen with water. That film has a negative impact on your voice.
But if I had to choose, like if I was roached to death and I had a session or I had to sing or I had to do something with my voice, I would drink hot tea for sure. You know, coffee's more of a caffeine in the morning thing, but like I highly recommend hot tea. And maybe some lemon, honey. It's always bad. There's a thing called throat coat. You guys, it's a miracle. Like throat coat tea bags are the best because I don't know what it is. It leaves like this nice non-cherry film on your throat that's just soothing. So yeah.
Can you actually do the Master Roshi voice?
I mean, I can. It sounds like this most of the time. Pretty much this. Sometimes with a...
Come on, Master Roshi, let's go train.
Oh, we train so much. Can this be a day off?
I know. I love his Roshi voice too. I'm not just saying that because he's sitting next to me. Seriously.
It's so fun. I get to knock it off accidentally. You guys can hear me, huh? That's fine. Roshi voice. I can't remember what I was going to say now. That threw me off. Oh well. It's gone forever. I thought.
I think he's been doing that voice for, so
That's
long.
what it was, yeah. I've been
Yeah.
doing that for a long time. I was cast as an old man in my 20s. So at some point, if they keep making the show, I will actually be Master Roshi age and still doing the voice. So that's kind of a neat thing.
Yeah, when I got cast, Mike was already there. He'd already been at the company. I didn't know your origin story. I don't think I've ever heard your origin story.
Well,
But I knew he did improv and he's an actor. And then I met him after being cast as Gohan. As the sessions went on, sometimes we would pass each other in the hallway, or like the company was really small, and it's like, oh hey, I'm coming, you're going, okay, have a great day. Might see you at the cast party, and then we'd hang out and stuff. So he was already there, and then next thing you know, he's directing me. So
I was as far as origins and anime type stuff, I was in the first round of auditions they ever had in Texas. They were casting a Dragon Ball movie just to see what the process would be like, because the Funimation production team, one or two of them would fly up to like Vancouver or Toronto and record Ocean Group stuff, and then bring that back, and that was what was released. And I'm like, well, that seems like a lot of it. We're going to another country to do this? That seems like a lot. So they had a local audition, like, well, let's see what the local talent pool is like. The Dallas-Fort Worth area is like top 3, top 5 for commercial and industrial work for actors in the whole United States. So there's a lot of working actors there. And the theater scene is very good. There's lots of equity theater, lots of regional and community theater as well. There's like a whole lot of actors that are active all year round. And they heard, I presume, a couple of hundred people on that thing, and I was about one of 12 picked out to be in this little movie called Sleeping Princess in the Devil's Castle. And I was cast as Master Roshi and Count Lucifer, who's obviously a good guy with that name. And someone named Army Commander that ended up being on the front of the box, is just like a big, bulky, stereotypical devil-looking drawn creature. And a bunch of guys in the background doing bits and stuff like that. So that was maybe like 4 to 6 months before they did any other stuff. So it wasn't too long before you came along and did stuff too, but like that was more or less the time frame.
yeah,
It's like 96, 97.
that sounds right. Yeah, I remember seeing what he's speaking of on VHS tape after the fact, and was interested in how that all. Apparently, there is a huge amount of amazing talent in Dallas-Fort Worth. Like, it was a obviously very smart move, because it's just grown and grown and grown like crazy since. And of course, the franchise itself speaks for itself being so popular. And I didn't even know it was as popular as until I literally I had to go to another country to figure it out. I was in Italy in 2000 with my show band doing a tour, and I turned on the TV in my hotel room, and there's Dragon Ball Z in Italian, and there's Gohan, saying "Don't hurt my daddy" in Italian or whatever he's saying. And that's when I kind of like had my eyes open to like, wow, this is a pretty big deal. Like this show is like popular all over the world. I mean, we learned as we went along, and I don't know. I didn't know how big it was going to be, and it's still going with Super. And hey, what a blessing to be a part of it, and to be a part of kind of those beginner days. Back in the day, as we say.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to somebody who wants to get into voice acting?
I would suggest they train as an actor. It's the big main focus thing. I know some people want to go straight into the voice acting thing, and they get a USB mic and they start watching YouTube clips and stuff like that. There's validity to that. I would, however, suggest that you train as an actor. Your voice is one of the tools that you use for acting. You use expressiveness of your body, your facial expressions, how you hold yourself, all these sorts of things. And even if you're not doing a visual medium, you still use all of that to perform, to act. It helps to get the emotion across. It also helps you to have a bit of focus, have a bit of a class setting where you are around other people. You must get up in front of other people and do the things, and you must do what the teacher says and all this sort of stuff to help you get a base for what you will use to make your own decisions later on.
Yeah.
I think that is how I would suggest to do it. Once you have all of that, if you want to take a voice and diction thing, if you want to take a workshop on voice acting and stuff like that, great. But you need to go in with those tools to do that rather than just, I'm familiar with this and I can't wait to do it, and let that be the starting point.
Yeah, I mean, it's just very rare that someone would walk in and literally just get a big giant role with just their voice without any training. I mean, I don't think it would sustain them, maybe, is the thing. I had a lot of theater training as well. Like, my music was a key component, being that I was a singer. I had a good idea of what my voice could do, and just from doing funny voices my whole life, But I did have that basis, like he's talking about. I did have that theater training, and whether it's musicals or dramatic arts or anything. And then, like he said, the discipline part of it is really important. Showing up, getting there on time, being focused and all that stuff. And I had to learn the hard way on a lot of that, and you just have to train yourself or do whatever it takes to get disciplined and to learn the etiquette. You just have to learn the etiquette and then follow direction. And but like you said, start out with your acting. You gotta get your foundation and learn the tools that you can play. And you gotta be ready for rejection, because it will happen, whether you like it or not. It's like, if you don't want to do anything else, then by golly, do what you gotta do. But do your research.
If rejection bothers you,
this
is a
isn't
terrible
for
thing for you to do.
I mean, because sometimes your no's are just help you grow, and it can make you just better at what you're doing, and just be more resilient.
I do think there's something to like growing to learn to accept rejection. It may feel really harsh at first, be like, maybe this isn't the right thing for me to do, and all these second guessing things. Once you get past that, you book some things, you feel more confident in yourself, whatever. You do realize that rejection is just like, well, that one's not for me. I'm obviously doing something right, because some people want me for some stuff. But if you're setting up imaginary, like, by this point I want to do this much, and by this year I want to have these things, those are arbitrary and those don't matter.
Right.
As long as you're continuing to do work and you enjoy the work, and other people are like, this is really good, I want to hire you for stuff, that's great. It doesn't matter if you get 300 rejections in a row. You've already done all these other things that know, like, hey, this is where I'm supposed to be. I'm already doing stuff, and it feels great. So if I have a dry spell, it's what it is. I can take more classes, I can do whatever, but it doesn't mean that this is not the right thing for me. But in the early points of your career, you will have those, like, I wonder if this is the right thing for me, because I'm hitting so many walls. So once you break through that little thing, the rejection is just like, that's fine. This is part of it. That's just how it works.
It is. It's staying positive. Just keep doing it. Plugging up. You might have to work doing some things you don't really want to do to pay the bills, and then hone your craft on your off hours. Use your time wisely. If you enjoy it, keep at it. Like I said, if the door's closed or if the door's locked, we go knock on another one. Just use it as a tool to get you through the next round of whatever auditions or whatever this comes next, and that's what I would recommend. There's more opportunity now than ever to jump online and do the Zoom classes, or get advice or do your research. More than ever. Back before when we were first starting, we didn't even have cell phones. We were I don't know, just do what we had with the tools we had. Make the best of it. But if you're steadfast and resilient, you'll like you said, you break through and you land something. It gives you some confidence. Like, I think I can do this again. Let's keep at it. And if not, well, there's plenty of other things you can do. Even in the realm of
even performance arts.
Performance art, yeah. There's, it takes a team to put on a show. It takes, the lighting and the director and the players and the props, and there's all kinds of work you can do surrounding it, and maybe you'll just keep honing it and come back at it later.
Yeah. What type of character did you voice act on when you were doing the Borderlands games? And how do you enjoy those compared to voice acting and stuff like that?
I think I've been in every Borderlands game, not like the spin-off, like Tiny Tina Adventures, stuff like that, but just like Borderlands 2, and Borderlands 3. I'm definitely in those three. Types of characters, usually crazy, insane people that want to die. It's what it feels like. It's someone like, I'm trying to run straight for the bullet. It's like because that's the comedy of those games. There's a bunch of people who are out of their minds.
Yeah.
Let's see. In the third game, I was some sort of one of a pair of brothers, religious zealots that were. There were more prominent religious zealot people who were like in charge of some cult, and me and my brother, who was played by Joel McDonald, who's the director of the game. We were someone who was like their number 1, number 2, whatever, like their right-hand lieutenants or something like that. That plus tons of crazy people who run into bullets. I think in the second game, there was a segment where they did like an homage to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I was like this Splinter character equivalent, their mentor. And then I also played a bunch of people that love to eat bullets. As far as the differences, it's a bit more of a organic creativity in that you just get a description and you have here's the scene we're setting up and there's your line. I get to create everything. There's no music to guide me with what the movie's like. There's no animation that's already there. Like, oh, okay, the mouth's super big and their body, their body language is doing a certain thing. I get to create all of that. If the director has any insight on that, like, oh, we're playing this funny, it's not meant to be funny, this is sad. Okay, well, that's helpful. All those sorts of things help out. But it's a bit more of the try this, try that, try this. It's a bit more tiring on a faster rate. When you're doing ADR dubbing, you preview something, you record it, and then the engineers and everyone else messes with it for a second to see if it fits and how they like it, and they play it against everything else. So there's a little bit of built-in break time before you get to try again. With video game type recording, like, okay, give me this line comes up lots of times, so do it 10 times and do it each one a little bit differently, and just do it in a series or in a row, and just one after the other. Or, okay, cool, now your character, they die by, someone sets them on fire with a flamethrower and they're shot and then they fall off a cliff. But we don't want it to be every single time with the same noise, so please die horrendously 10 times in a row and scream your guts out. That just starts to wear and tear a lot faster on you than working on anime, even if it's like a big fight show like Dragon Ball.
Yeah, because it can be like a rapid fire thing, and then you're just like 10 more times, and then they can pick and choose and then put it where it needs to go. So I remember when I would record for those games, it wouldn't be like the all day thing, but like my head would be kind of like, I have a headache from that, because it's intense.
Yeah, especially with like fighting games, military, like war type games and stuff like that. The yelling and the screaming is so intense. Even a 2-hour session of that feels like you've been doing like 6 to 8 hours of anime all day. Yeah, in my opinion.
I believe the same.
Yeah.
I feel exactly the same way. Like it's worth it, and you love the work. Believe me, if you're casting something, it's an honor. And it's a job, and we love what we do. So we're grateful, but yeah, but it can definitely, you know, kick your butt if you're. It is a lot. Like I said, a lot of it is that you're hyper focused, which is good because you want to be, but it's just you're just taking a, you know, you're taking a beating. Your throat's hitting. You know, your throat is just bash. But you get some great work out of it, and it's great, and it's all put together, and it's worth it for everybody. But yeah, after those sessions, I'm always just like, wait, I need a minute.
Yeah.
I think I need to like sit in my car and just chill.
And it depends on the game too, just like it depends on the anime. Like if you know, if I'm fortunate enough, like, oh, this is a detective noir game, and it's a bunch of problem solving, I'm like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
So you just need me to sit around and talk like this for hours. Maybe that's more smoking tools. And like that's way better than over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at different lengths. Like
Yeah.
you'll do like a, you know, like a Kamehameha or Kame. I mean, it's you have to learn how to incorporate different time, quicker, faster, draw it out in every which way you can possibly think so that they can have all of the data they need in post to the brains of every game.
No, it's fine.
Voice acting and voice directing side, have you guys been affected by the merger of Funimation and Crunchyroll being swallowed up by Sony?
I'm heavily involved with that. It's the same. It's the same thing. It's just there's a different company that owns everything now. But the people I work with are the same people, and we do the same job the same way every day. I would say it's cool to have Sony as an owner because then they're like, oh, I need something. Oh, we have it. That was quick. You know.
Oh, right.
Sony ain't broke. But as far as like, you know, one company doing what or whatever, I'm all of the decision making of like, you know, why one name, why another, why other things happen, that's all way above me. But as far as me going in to dub anime into English and casting and directing and doing my pre-production and doing a mixed review and getting everything turned in, that's been the same for years, and it didn't change anything with that process.
Good.
Yeah. Other than like the characters you guys voiced on Dragon Ball, who would you say your favorite Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z your super character is?
Favorite character that's not me, what I do? Probably Vegeta. I mean, that's a fan favorite, right? For a reason. He's cool and stoic and he's mean. He's got like a nice side to being mean. He's still mean. So, yeah, probably Vegeta.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, everybody's just so talented. So I mean, I just admire the guys that do these voices and that just do them so well, and that can change the voice into so many different sounding characters. I mean, I kind of liked. I mean, I guess it'd be Bulma. I mean, I don't know, because I didn't voice any of the females. So if I had to choose a female voice, which might not even really be a question, but there's an answer for it.
Yeah, I think it's just who's your favorite character that's not one you voice.
Oh, Bulma.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's fun.
We've probably got time for one more question.
One more.
Una Mas.
Speed round.
Who wants to be last one? Last one, panel.
And if you like, I want to ask something, I can't think of what it is. We're both going to be back at our tables in a bit, so please just come say hi to us and ask us there. We'll be happy to help you out.
Absolutely.
But you have one here now.
Now's our chance.
There you go.
Alright, so I don't know if y'all have ever watched any of the stuff that Team 4-Star did.
I'm aware of it. I've seen like little clips.
I've seen clips.
I was going to ask, what was y'all's opinion of voice acting?
I don't know if I saw enough to see like specific voice acting opinion. I thought it was funny what I saw,
Yeah,
but like I don't
really
remember
cute.
much else about it. I've met some of that cast and crew, and they're fun people. But as far as like what was your favorite one, whatever, man, I've seen like, you know,
Yeah.
5 and 10 seconds spread out here and there over 10, 15 years.
Yeah, I found it entertaining. I didn't sit and watch the whole thing either. I just had, oh, what do you think about this or whatever, you know, because we stay pretty busy. But what I saw, same exact. It was funny. It was entertaining. You see your character and then they throw a voice in. It's like, hey, that's pretty good. It's pretty funny.
That is going to be our last question. But before we all get out of here, we're going to do one big group Kamehameha.
Yes.
Well, them too, right?
You guys are doing this
You
shit.
guys are gonna join us.
You guys are gonna join us. We are gonna let y'all lead. Y'all obviously have a little more experience.
You guys gotta stand up too. Alright, so it's basically like 3 moves, okay? So we get the hands like this, and then you pull them into your chest, and that's a kame. And then you like cock it, like behind your back. Like so it's kame, hame, and you blast it forward with ha, and you hold it out as big and as long as you possibly can. Good instructions for everyone?
Yes.
Alright, let's all do it.
Ready?
Kame, hame.